Thank you very much, HP. It's really not easy to speak after you. So I will try to make it in English. As I said, we are in Morocco. We use the French language and Arabic, of course. So let me maybe take the presentation. Just a second. So do you see it now?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So my name is Salim Berbash. I want to just introduce myself very quickly. I'm a father of 2 children, aged 4 and 6. And at base, I'm engineer in electromechanical design and Technical University of Darmstadt in Germany. After a professional time by Siemens, biomedical engineering in the mid-90s, I came back to Morocco and launched Ukutra Consulting in 1996. Well, our ambition, as you said, Hitendra, it's very important, was all the time to contribute to the economic development of Morocco. The firm's historical services are consulting and support in the fields of strategy and management. And since 2013, we have understood that it is very important for Moroccan companies to consider innovation as a strategic lever for their development. So I'm really happy with the partnership we have here set up with the GIMI Institute in terms of development of innovation in the companies. So to start, I would like to share with you what is the, excuse me, I just let here this field away. Yes, the context in Morocco is since 1996, Morocco initiated the implementation of an association agreement with the European Union, which entered in force in March 2000. And from the year of 2012, we have assisted to the establishment of a free trade area between the 2 partners. And then we also have many others or bilateral free trade agreements that followed the one adopted with the EU, the European Union, like with the USA, Turkey, Egypt, and etc. So that's really a situation where Morocco's openings up to the world economy and the dismantling of customs barriers inherent to the many agreements put in place have generated a new deal and a new situation for the productive sectors. So indeed, over the past years, Moroccan industrial SMEs have been confronted with with the reality of an increasingly globalized market, and that's I mean a trend which have yes concerned all the corporates here in Morocco, also the SMEs and the big companies. And excuse me. So for the SMEs, the priority at the beginning was to organize themselves by adopting appropriate technostructures and internal processes which are really aligned with the requirements of their respective markets. And here you have discussed, HP, about ecosystems. It's very important to know what we can build in succeeding with partners. So we have here installed a partnership with the world-known certification body, which name is TÜV Rheinland, which is based in Germany, in Cologne. And during this period, we therefore focused on international management standards. For us, it was very important to assist the companies here in Morocco to build these standards, like, for example, in particular, the ISO 9001, which is really a solid organizational base. And from this point, we then consider that the main challenge which we encountered with the SMEs supported at that time was to help them really switch to the principle of writing what they do in order to be able to discuss it. So the title of this webinar is to speak about maturity. And I think the first step of maturity we have here analyzed is to make firms write what they do, to analyze it, and then improve it. And this improvement is for us the first maturity step. The first maturity step, because when we don't write our kind of working, we cannot debate about, we cannot discuss what we can improve. So then we have also bring to the firms the capitalizations to say, when you improve something, you have to rewrite it and then you have to implement it. And that is really a very important first step of maturity, what we can say here. Well, normative management systems allow firms, of course, to ensure quality for their customers and the market, but it allows them mainly to automate and stabilize the operating processes. And for us, a very, very important message all the time since we started these services in Morocco is to speak about saving time. Saving time, because time, we consider time is much more than money. Generally, we say time is money, and we say that is false. Time is much more than money. And I think our customers here, the firms we are working with, have really understood by saving time, they can review and adjust their strategic vision, and above all, look outside the walls and identify areas where they can innovate. And that's very important to gain time and to be able to take some, we say in French, recul, prendre du recul par rapport à la situation, and to say, what can I make new in my business? And that is really a very, very important message for us. I call it the second maturity step. When the firm start to see that time is very important. Time is life. To save time of a company is like to save the life of this company. That's very important. So that's for us. I mean, we can speak about global innovation indices in the world, like the GII and so on, but that what I expose here is very our diagnosis on the field. So that are the maturity step we have seen in the last 20 years. So we may move forward, and for us, a better understanding of innovation is also a huge challenge for the firms here. Innovation is not just technological. Many firms in Morocco think that when we make innovation, it has to be technological. No, the innovation is holistic. You can innovate in the different field of your firms. You can innovate, of course, in products improvement, in products development, in services development, but not only. We have this message to our firm to say, now you can consider innovation as a holistic approach. So you can innovate, excuse me, I want to speak in German, like new technical processes, new business models, new marketing, new organization, and new markets. So the level of innovation is very wide. And that for us, I will call it the third maturity step, is not to consider innovation just around product and service. Innovation is more wider. So that's interesting maybe to say. And then we have here also, we consider it important to give a very simplified definition of what is innovation, so that it will be accessible to the companies here in Morocco. And we have developed our own definition for innovation. I mean, there are innovation of the OCDE, l'OCDE, from the ISO and so on. And sometimes it's a little bit technical and not easy to understand. So we have, say here, innovation is reflected in a capacity, an ability just to provide new and appropriate responses to external and internal influencing factors in a timely manner. That's the first reflection. The second reflection, what the firms has, I spoke about our customer. What we share with there is the second axis is to generate added value, but not in one time, to have the capacity and the ability to recreate it over time. That is innovation. Yeah, and it is really appreciated when we try to simplify the concepts so that they will be accessible to the companies and to the teams of the companies. So, and then for us, I think I can speak here about the fourth stage of maturity, is to understand that agility and innovation to maybe 80% a question of culture and mindset. It is more than structure and processes and tools. Tools have maybe a weight of 20%, but not more. We have, when we decide to go into innovation, we have to work on the culture, on the mindset of the company. And that's a really a very important work, because when you come to this scenario and people goes aware or becoming aware of this important of culture and mindset, so then you can move forward. You can make a lot of things in innovation, but it is important to focus at the beginning on culture and mindset. And from this point of view, what we do now, the situation in Morocco, we are here. We make a lot of trainings and targeted workshops sometimes for some special problematic to lose. We are organizing workshop, and we try to find ideas to identify what are the potential area where we can innovate. So that is the situation. We have, of course, some SMEs and big companies would have defined a strategy of innovation and a process of innovation and so on. But the large number of them now, we are working at training and targeted workshops sometimes when the customer define the problematic. So I don't want to make it too long, because I think it will be interesting to have maybe some questions and responses, as you said, HP. I think the fifth stage of maturity for the firms, and what we think we have see here in Morocco, is that they understand the power of an ecosystem, of a working ecosystem. We share all the time our own experience. So, for example, with TÜV Rheinland in Germany, and with other partners to improve academy also in Europe. And we spoke about gaining time before. So when you have a strong partnership in an ecosystem, so you gain time, you gain energy, and you can make more. So that is really important to let the SMEs understand the power of ecosystems. And we work on this, and we communicate on this, and we are happy today to be a part of the GIMI ecosystem, because I think we can do more that we have done since the last 20 years here in North Africa. We have also some missions in Tunisia sometimes, also in West Africa. And I think this issue of ecosystem is also very important. And I will say that's the fifth stage of maturity, that the firms understand that she has to make some energy to find partners, to build partnerships, to create synergy. And from here, so we can move forward and we can develop innovative product processes and so on. Last but not least, I wanted to share some, you see here some numbers we have in Morocco about, when you speak about SMEs, we speak, that's studies of Ecotra Consulting we have done 2018. So we were speaking about 40,000 SMEs about more than 700 big companies. We have also what we call TPE, très petite entreprise, very small enterprises, about 2 millions. And you see here also the turnover to just as information here. And then we have also cooperatives that are, for example, in the field of agriculture, when many people come together and build a cooperative to make some export, for example, or to develop some products in the agro industry. And then we have also the entrepreneurs. We spoke 2018 about 70,000, excuse me, 77,000, hein, 77,000 en français. Yeah, auto-entrepreneurs in Morocco, but we think that the potential of auto-entrepreneur in Morocco at this time was about 3.5 million person. So I think just to say these actors, when they will aware about functioning in a manner of ecosystem with, as you said, Hitchendra, before, universities, academias, technical center, innovation center. So we can really build a real added value for the country. We can build a real value for these actors, for these operators, and for the state, Morocco, which is doing a lot of efforts to support these ecosystems with some financial support and technical support with consulting and so on. And yes, so I think that is a small overview about the situation here in Morocco, what is concerning innovation. Excuse me, so for English, maybe it's not as well as my French and German, but I think with the next webinars, it will be improved. So thank you very much for your attention. And I'm really pleased to answer if there is some questions or remarks. Please go ahead.
Dr. Salim, thank you very much for your presentation. I thought it was really, really insightful that if you don't write it down, then how can you argue it? And if you can argue it, then you can actually change it and modify it, improve it. And so the learnings, the stages of all that, and it applies to human beings, it applies to individuals, and it applies to companies on how you keep on going beyond your own boundaries and sharing and discussing. And it seems like it's a circle which goes beyond out there. And I think it makes very good sense. We have been working on a program right now, which is about building individual leadership, which has got a lot of this reflections of writing and discussing and arguing and debating, and that's very important. And then there's benchmarking, and then going beyond benchmarking to adapting and all that. I'll share one thing. Our definition of innovation is relatively simple. And you can wordsmith it slightly here and there, but it really is do something new that you didn't do before. Do something new that captures value. Do something new that you didn't do before that captures value. And so every test of every action that somebody does, you ask, is it new to you, new to your company? Yes or no? If it is, it might be innovative. You capture value from it. Yes, then it's innovation. You need a yes on the two questions to be able to do that. But simple definitions scale across a whole geography to do that. First, thank you very much for that presentation on SMEs and all that. There's a large numbers of work that you've done. What do you feel is still lacking in taking SMEs to the next level? Is it the CEOs? Is it the employees? At the end, it's people. People have to make choices and decisions. Where do you see the barriers? Is it a generational gap? Is it CEOs being stubborn? Is it a transition of power between next generation and new generation? Can you just talk about real meat of the situation?
Yes, HB, I think the most important things when we discuss about innovation is really the commitment, the understanding what is innovation. We have to communicate at first. That is all the time. It was so we communicate, we make training, we make sensibilization to make people understanding what they can gain from innovation management and innovation as a lever of growth. So I think it's a question of top management at the beginning, they have to be aware what they lose about, on dit en français, le manque à gagner, what they don't gain. There is a lot of, I say all the time in French, gisement. It's like to become rich. Yeah, you have a lot of money. You can take this money, but you don't see it. So I think we have to be aware that the intelligence in the firms is there, but it is not valorized as it is. So we have to bring the top management of the firms, be aware, and then say, okay, we have understand, now we will investigate, because we have understand that the ideas and the creativity of our teams can bring us very, very, very wide. Yeah. So I think it's a question of top management when we speak about the firms.
I want to open the questions up to other people in other countries, and I want to provoke, whether it's Guatemala or Colombia, where the first type of small businesses that you see are usually replications of companies that exist in other cities or other countries. And somebody says, I'm going to replicate that business, and that's it. Very few of them are thinking about being leaders or starting something from zero. And therefore, it's a new product or a new service or a new market and all that. It's really, as you said, adoption of existing technologies, products, services out there. In Colombia, we have trained about 1,000 SMEs on a program where there were 5,000. And the question over here is, what is the mindset of the entrepreneur? There are entrepreneurs who really believe we should do new products and new markets, which is kind of really risky. Or the entrepreneurs who basically take products that exist and they take it into the local market and customize it. And so there's a little bit of risk on market risk and customization. And then there are some people who are actually taking the product that they develop in Brazil or in Colombia or in Guatemala, and they're taking it out abroad to the US and other countries. So you got those optional choices of how to grow. And maybe Ben or Colombia, all the work that we've done in Colombia with all the growth SMEs, you guys have any thoughts to say where is the energy in countries which, for whatever reason, got left behind in the 50s to the 80s in science and technology, missed the revolution of chemistry and the revolution of physics and the revolution of electronics, and therefore you are copycats at the beginning, but now you're evolving into maybe leadership of technology and science. So just a thought on this thing is, are you a different type of thing? And I would like the others to jump in and maybe add color to that question.
If I can jump in, I think it's not such an easy answer to the question. I think you have some businesses that are built with a scale and exit in mind that are still SMEs at this point. But I would say most are like you described, they weren't designed to scale and exit later. So where are those guys heading? They're heading towards eventually being a consolidation play. So you can be bought out by a bigger player entering into that space. So there's a lot of consolidation going on in the Latin American region, and M&A efforts to buy up a lot of these SMEs as they integrate into larger ones. But that requires less innovation and more operational efficiencies and operations there. The other sort of track is sort of moving into a more of a franchise kind of thing, where you're seeing trying to bring more representations of emerging brands and more representations of franchises to scale their business that way. And the third one is sort of, which is, I think it's kind of classic. Most of the businesses are family owned, let's say 85 to 95% of them. And most of them aren't really looking to do a 10X. They're looking to do a 2 or 3X because they're just trying to maintain the lifestyle kind of the family owners. And so there is a transition, a little transition for growth, but it's more like, I just want a cash cow for the next 50 years So I need to stay relevant in that sense. So their innovations are a lot more on the incremental side, and their risk profile is a lot more on the conservative side. And the only sort of disruptor of that scheme really is buyouts, which is the first track I mentioned.
Slim, do you want to react or respond?
Excuse me?
You want to respond to that, or you just got some thoughts?
Well, maybe if Ben can formalize the last question one very shortly, please, because I didn't understand all the things.
Yeah, so the point is, everybody wants to innovate, but if you're a family-owned business that has maybe second generation or third generation leadership, you're training your kids or the third generation to sort of take over the business. You're not necessarily training them to take over the world. You're training them to take over the business. Yes. And to continue a growth path, which is maybe a 1x, a 2x, or a 3x, not a 10x. Some of those guys will end up getting bought out in the consolidation efforts of mergers and acquisitions when larger players come in. But most of them will basically just manage the industry and manage their presence in the industry for the next 20 to 30 years. So they still want to innovate, but the kinds of innovations that they're doing are a lot of efficiency innovations, incremental innovations, and some of them who are a little bit more ambitious, they want to get to a 3x by buying out smaller players themselves. So those are the 2 or 3 sort of growth efforts that I've noticed, at least in our markets.
Okay. Well, what I would say, Ben, is the concept of risk here in Morocco. I think we have many SMEs who don't make the step to go into innovation are mostly speaking about taking too much risk to make some new things. In general, incremental innovation, okay, we can make some light improvements of product services, but to make something very new, so they make a very, very, strong link with taking risks, and okay, sometimes this risk is really not really justified. So you have to demystify what's innovation. When you make some good management practices, and we can also calculate a risk. So we try to go into this kind of problematic with SMEs here, and to say what will be lost if we don't do it, and what will be gained if we do it. And we make such a reflection with them, and sometimes they change their kind of thinking. So they say, okay, now I see more when I stay where I am. So there is a big risk that I go away, because it's coming another competitor from another country with more best practices and so on, and I can't. So I think it's important to make these things happen, or this switch of mindset also in family firms, not only in the big firms, which are generally aware of these issues. Thank you, Ben, for your insight.
Salim, thanks for the question. We're running on to almost 11 o'clock now.
Yes.
I think the SME market could benefit by some analysis of saying which sort of SME companies are best targets for innovation, and putting a filter at the beginning so that we don't waste our energy on everybody. I do believe some companies are lifestyle and they will never change. I do believe some companies have mindset issues and they will never change. Some companies are not structured for economic growth or doubling and tripling because they are what they are, like a hair cutting place or something. So there are limits to certain SMEs, and if there's a criteria up front, I think countries and governments could benefit from that. So that's one of my guidance. The second one is, I think inspiration is always there. For all the CEOs to believe, why can't I be a global leader? Why can't I be bigger than I am? And those books that people read as children, books of explorers, books of people who have discovered mountains and went to the moon and things like that. Those are books every person should be reading. All our CEOs should be reading, because that sets the inspiration or the aspiration, right? And we need to increase that at the SME level, because there there are probably 100 people right now in Morocco who think they should be the next Bill Gates.
Yeah.
And they know they're smart enough. They're just maybe not thinking big enough. And that's your job. That's your job.
That's right, HB. Thank you very much.
So Salim, thank you very much for your presentation. I thought it was very insightful for me. I always get smarter when I listen to people speak and share for their years of experience of what you have been doing. I'm going to write more and I'm going to share more. I'm going to reflect more. I'm going to look outside the box a little bit more and all those kinds of things. Even as we look at GIMI and apply the same maturity models on the GIMI to make GIMI a better organization. We look forward to you joining our community, and we look forward to us moving to French. French has another IMBOK and everything else that works together. You know, Arila's working on the relationship for doing that. So thank you very much, Salim, and from Ucontra, from which is in Morocco, one of the leading innovation consulting firms in the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Hitendra, and very, very happy to have assisted with you today. And yeah, we look forward to